75-degree difference between here and here, and almost nothing in the wall to stop it. That's a critical wall, and vaulted ceilings, tray ceilings that back up the attic spaces must. They simply must be 6-inch cellulose walls to stop that heat. So what I recommend to the people is this. In your ceilings, use R45 ceiling cellulose insulation. Okay? Don't get cheated.
Okay.
R45. How much is R45? Let's go to a video here of the bag of insulation. On every bag of insulation, you see a chart like this.
Okay.
Notice here closely. To get certain R values, you have to have so many bags per 1,000 square feet. Can you read it here on the chart?
Yes.
See that?
Right. Gotcha.
Okay. So don't get cheated. When you order insulation, you order R value and so many bags, so you don't get cheated on it. Okay? And if you'll do that, if you'll put roughly 11 inches of ceiling insulation cellulose in your attic, you'll never have any heat loss or heat gain through that ceiling in your entire life. Okay? And the walls do the wet spray just like we're showing you, and you'll have almost no heat loss or heat gain through the walls in your house at all, except where your windows and doors are. So that's how it works. I'm telling you, folks, in summary, just this. Use cellulose insulation.
I'm sold on cellulose. Doug, are we about to get this house built? Are we covering all the things we need to?
Well, we're well on our way, but we got some big ones to come yet,
All
okay?
right.
Ron, the biggest energy waster in America is ductwork.
Ductwork.
That's right. Now, we do some really crazy things in America. For example, in your own house where you live now, where is the ductwork located?
I know this one. Sometimes you stump me, but it's in the attic.
It's in the attic. How hot is it in your attic today?
Hot. It's in the summertime we're doing this.
It's probably 140, 150 degrees. Could you make homemade ice cream up there?
No.
No. Why does anybody think you can make cooling up there?
I don't know.
Well, the fact that your ductwork's up there, even if it's perfect, which it isn't,
right,
you're losing 20% of your cooling to your attic today. Well, in the wintertime, you're blowing hot air through a cold attic, you see, and go up north. Look how serious that is, you see. So let's first talk about location, okay?
All right.
Location of ductwork. Don't put it in the attic, period. Why do you put it up there? Because it's easy and you don't have to think.
That's what the contractor's been used to.
Yeah, just call the last day before you move in the house and say, hey, get it in there. We got to hurry. So there it goes. But I have to add a ton or 2 or 3 to your equipment just to offset where that ductwork's located. So let's talk about where we can put the ductwork, okay?
All right.
First of all, let's go to a one-story house. There's 2 places to put the ductwork, or really 3, I guess, okay? If you're on a crawl space house and you insulate it like we talked to you earlier, put the ductwork under the floor. It's just like in a basement now, except it's just 3 feet tall. It's in a 65-degree room now, not a 150-degree room. See that? Okay. Also, if you're on a concrete slab, we've got something now that is a plastic ductwork put together with a special glue. It's airtight and cannot rust, so you can put your ductwork under your slab or in your slab now on a one-story house with a concrete slab. Or one other place you can put it. And we'll look at our video here and show it where you can even call and get the information on this. Right here at Black Max. Call that number. They're in Oklahoma. And I was thrilled to find them. You can see kind of a layout here of how it goes under the slab on the house. And we're being very successful with that. And you don't have to take up a closet space and all this stuff now. And you don't have, okay, it's just a good place to do it on a concrete slab. So you can call that number and get more information. Or you can use architectural design fur downs inside your house.
What's that?
Like bring the ceiling height in a closet or in the hallway or something down 1 foot to get the ductwork down inside the house rather than up in the attic. You see, you can't see it, but it's over your cabinets. You've already got a fur down there usually, different places. So there's ways to do that. 2-story house, it's really very simple. Put it between the floors.
But that's going to cost a lot more, isn't it?
No more. No, put it between the floors. Use like floor trusses instead of 2x12s. Floor trusses are probably cheaper too, to be honest with you. But now you can run it through. So for downstairs, your registers are in the ceiling, and upstairs, they're in the floor. But again, it's in a 75-degree room now. It's not in a 150-degree attic.
So how much space am I going to have?
Oh, you got 12 or 13 inches in there.
Okay.
So,
all right.
and as you build your house more efficient, your ductwork gets smaller.
Okay.
See, so you got room to do that. Okay, so that's what you do. Don't put in the attic. On a basement house, of course, you can put in the basement. Location is really important. Save you a fortune on the location of your ductwork. I'll show you why. Let's do that now, okay?
Okay,
Let's do that. Let's go to our little house. One of my favorite things of all
I like this, too.
All right, this is neat. You'll notice on my little house has little plastic doors on it. And you'll notice on that, in fact, there's no big pressure on my house if the heating and cooling system's not running unless the wind's blowing. So let me blow some wind through there. So the wind's blowing outside, air's coming in one end of the house and out your other, coming through your fireplace, coming through your electrical receptacles, all those places we didn't caulk. See, air's coming through. Well, we're solving those things, though, as we go. But now watch this, Ron. This is really critical. Ductwork leakage is the biggest waster of energy in America. I'm going to turn my heating and cooling system on. My ductwork in this case is not inside the house because I couldn't build it in there, but it is totally airtight. We never use duct tape on ductwork.
Never?
Never. We call it temporary tape. I use it for a lot of things. You ever wondered how I put peanut butter on a soft piece of bread with one arm? I tape the bread down with duct tape. Not really, just kidding. Okay, but we don't use duct tape for anything on ductwork. We use only metal ductwork, and we use mastic on the joints. Okay. Now, this is a flexible joint right here, but you'll notice it won't move.
Right.
And there's no leakage because the mastic that we put on here has sealed it up totally. Now, let me show you how very critical this is. Almost every house that we check with a blower door test has gigantic sums, at least 20, 30, or 40% leakage in the ductwork because they put duct tape on it or whatever it might be, or use flex duct or whatever, and we just don't use that. Now watch my house.
All right.
Here's the supply air coming in the house. Like today we say, here's the cooling coming in, and here's the return coming back to my unit.
Gotcha.
Okay? Watch what happens when I get leakage in the supply ductwork of my house. What did my doors on my house do?
They're going in, right? You can see there.
My house just went big time negative pressure. So for any leakage in the supply ductwork on my house, it's now having to suck air into the house everywhere it can.
But that's hot air.
Yeah, hot, humid air today. In the wintertime, it's cold air. That's why, you see, I'll take a 2,000 square foot house and use a 1.5 ton cooling system on it.
1.5 ton?
Yeah, most people are going to put 3 or 3.5 in it, see?
Yeah.
Well, it's because of these things that they didn't solve. You've got to have it that big to offset. This is a joke, but look, your house isn't too bad unless you need heating and cooling. When you turn the heating and cooling on, it's going to cost you a fortune, see? You see that?
I understand.
What caused the problem? Leakage in the ductwork. That's the only change I made. Watch this. I'm going to make the ductwork tight again, and there's almost no pressure on my house.
And it balances out. The doors are back closed.
Let's put leakage in the return air. Almost every house we check has leakage in return air. Help that door down there. It's stuck just a little bit. What did that do to my house? Now the doors are swinging out.
Pushing it out, yeah.
Okay? Now, look here, Ron. My house is positive pressure, which means all this air it's sucking out or blowing out is being sucked in from my attic or my basement or somewhere because of leakage in the return air. You see? So it's critical that the all supply ductwork and all return ductwork be in solid metal ductwork, not connected to wall chases and all this kind of stuff that you find on houses being built. It just doubles or triples your heating and cooling costs because your ductwork is not totally airtight. You see how that works? Make the ductwork tight again.
Okay, I got you.
Now the house isn't using hardly any energy at all.
Now that would be energy efficient.
Yeah, see that? Now watch this.
Yeah.
People ask me often, they say, the kids have gone off to college now, we're going to close off half the house to save all this.
I hear that all of the time.
You think it works. Sometimes it does, but usually doesn't. Watch what happens to my house when I close this one door inside the house.
All right, then it's
sucking it in one end of the house, blowing it out the other end. So this end in the wintertime is toasty warm, getting all the heat, and you're freezing down here for some reason. But I doubled, just by closing the door, I doubled or tripled the amount of energy it takes to heat your house. Open the door again.
All right.
Watch. Now the house is in total balance, and it's no problem. See, if you put, say, 200 CFM, cubic feet a minute of air into a room, you've got to be able to let that air get out to get back to the return air. So you need to cut 3 or 4 inches off the bottom of your door.
We got to do the other way, yeah.
Okay, or you got to give some kind of relief, is what I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Some kind of relief so the air can get back. Now, here's the one that's scary to me and actually dangerous to me, okay? Let's suppose you got leakage in your supply, which makes your house negative, and you close the door in your house, and on that end of the house, you've got gas or propane appliances. You might be, and some houses we check, this actually happens, you might now be backdrafting your gas appliances in your fireplace.
Back down?
You might be putting carbon monoxide in that end of the house big time.
Whoa.
You see that?
Right.
Look how hard that's sucking on there.
Yeah.
Put your hand over there now. If you put a solid door on, where's it going to suck that air in from? Right down those gas flues or your fireplace flues. That's the biggest openings in the house. So one of the reasons why I never put gas in houses, the ones I work on, is for safety. And the other is your bills actually go up on my houses, not down. Okay, and I don't have a comfort problem in my houses because my ductwork is airtight. So even with a heat pump, I'm not getting cold air because I'm not mixing all this cold air in, you see. Heat pump's going to put out 98 to 105 degree air, which is plenty of warm air. Okay, but if your ductwork's good, and if your house is good and tight like we've taught them in the film so far. So let's hurriedly go over this one more time to see.
All right.
If all the doors are open or you got sufficient return airs from room to room to room, and your ductwork's tight, you're using almost no energy.
Yeah, it's pretty well
as soon as you get leakage, you're wasting big time. If you're in some return, you're wasting big time. That door's stuck. I don't know why it's hanging in there like that. And if you close the doors in your house in the wrong places, it's big time energy wasted. You could close one door in the house, and it costs you 3 times as much to heat and cool your house. That's a fact.
Rules out that
we could
when the
spend
kids
hours.
are away from college, shut it off.
Leave the doors open and all your registers open as a rule is your best thing. I know that surprises you, but we've proved it many, many times, okay?
We covered all our ground?
Yeah, so ductwork airtight, make it airtight. See, we're getting ready to do heating and cooling now. You can go spend and buy the best heating and cooling in America, which I'm going to show you, but if you got leakage in your ductwork, what have you gained?
It's washed.
Right, see, that's right. So that's what we're doing.
Heating and cooling right around the corner. Doug, we've talked about framing and caulking. Now we're talking about something I know about, heating and air conditioning, because my units can run with the best of them in the neighborhood.
You mean like it just runs
all the time?
May not be a bad sign, actually.
Okay.
See, we'll talk about sizing here in just a moment. On a hot summer day or a cold winter night, you want that to run. That may be a good sign for you, come to think of it, okay? That would be nice. Well, let's talk about this, though, Ron. We took out an hour ago, started on this thing, and most people use the Bubba method when sizing heating and cooling all across America. Down south, they say, well, I put 1 ton of cooling in for every 500 square foot of the house. They've heard that all over their life, right? Terrible thing to do, terrible thing to do. The other Bubba method is go out to the street after your house is framed up. Ever how many fingers it takes to cover up the house, how many tons you put in, 5 tons, you know.
I like that one.
You like that one. You see, we started out with a house that maybe needed 5 tons of cooling, but we built it right like we've taught here. Now we're down to maybe 2.5 tons of cooling. What a great deal.
My attention.
See, that's good. Yeah. Saves you money on the front end too, okay? And we sized it right. That's called manual J. And I say to people, don't you dare let someone do the heating and cooling in your new house who didn't actually sit down and calculate what you really need for heating and cooling in your house. Just don't do it, okay? But let's go on from there, and let's see what we can do. We brought it down to here. Let's talk about energy efficiencies on this. Ron, what color's your carpet?
A tan color cream.
What color's your bathtub?
It's a tan.
Tan also? What color's your kitchen cabinet top?
It's white.
White?
Off-white.
What color's your heating and air unit?
I don't know. An ugly green, I guess.
You guess. You know, see, hardly anybody ever knows. Why? Out of sight, out of mind. Who cares? We buy houses because of beautiful carpet, et cetera, not heating and cooling. Well, I'm trying to teach people how, in fact, to ask your builder what is the energy efficiency of this heating and cooling system. Because, Ron, you pay your electric bill every 30 days, right? You pay your house payment every 30 days, you see, so one's just as important as the other. I'm trying to get people to realize how important it is and simply ask some questions. Now watch, this is going to surprise you. Well, it may not. You've been around me for a while now.
A little bit.
Ron, most houses being built in America today, new houses, if natural gas is available, gets a gas furnace. Is that correct?
Right.
They do, okay? Do you happen to know what the energy efficiency is on most gas furnaces?
I have no idea.
80%.
That's on most of them.
Yeah, nearly every house I go to, new house, and go inside and look, you're going to find that yellow tag on there. In fact, I came through a new car wash just 2 days ago with my truck. First time it had been washed, you know. And I had to pull the sticker off of the unit overhead in there, and I called all the guys around. I said, look what your owner got. Well, 80% gas furnace.
And that's the latest model.
Yeah, latest, brand new. Brand new. Houses the same way, Ron. Guess this now. What's the least energy efficiency gas allowed by federal law? You guess that, okay?
Minimum.
It's really 78, okay, but that's close enough to 80,
okay.
You know? Ron, that means that 20% of all the gas goes up the gas flue to the birds.
Oh.
That's like me filling your car up with gasoline and saying, Ron, tell me to stop when you're tired of this. Ready? I'm going to put 4 gallons in your tank, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 on the ground, 4 in the tank, one on the ground. You get tired of that yet?
I get the picture. I get the picture.
That's 80% energy efficient, wasting 20%. The only difference between this and filling your car up with gas is you see the gasoline going on the ground, and you don't see it going up your flues out the roof to the birds, you see? I think it's absolutely pitiful the way we waste energy in America. Well, you can get a gas furnace, so that's 90% to 95%. They call them 90-plus furnaces. And if you're going to use gas in your house, folks, please, please use a closed combustion so you don't have any potential for carbon monoxide problems in that, and use at least a 90-plus that. Now let's go to a heat pump. Go down to your heat pump.
All right.
Guess what the energy efficiency, talking about fuel conversion, guess what the energy efficiency of an air-to-air heat pump is? You have any idea?
Knowing you, it's going to be a lot better.
Would you believe 250 to 300%?
Now, this is gas.
That's gas.
This is a heat
all
pump.
electric heat pump. A heat pump doesn't have to create heat. It just moves it from here to here, like a window air conditioner. It takes the heat out of inside and spits it outside. Well, in the wintertime, if you turn it around your window, it put heat in your... You see how it works? Mm-hmm. That's what it is. Don't ask me exactly how it works. I never have known, except that I know it's marvelous. You can use 1 unit of electricity and get 2.5 units of heat out of a heat pump, up to 3. Now we're going to talk about my favorite of all, which is geothermal. I know you've heard about it.
A lot.
Geothermal. What's the ground temperature? You came from over where they had a lot of wells in the rice country. Remember that? What was the water temperature of well water coming out of the ground year-round? Do you happen to know?
It was cool. I know that.
It's about 57 degrees.
I would think so.
All right? About 57 degrees. When we tie heating and cooling systems into the ground, the heating and cooling system thinks it's about 57 to 60 degrees year-round. It doesn't know if it's snowing outside or it doesn't know if it's in the desert.
Doesn't care.
It thinks it's 57 degrees every day. You see what I'm saying? It's so much common sense, folks. When you learn it, you're wondering, why doesn't everybody do this? The energy efficiency run on heating with a geothermal heat pump, of which I've now been involved in over 10,000 of them. Okay, last time I saw it was 5,000. Now it's 10. Okay, listen, it's 400 and even higher % efficiency on heating.
400?
Yeah, use 1 unit of electricity and get 4 units of heat out of it. It's marvelous. With no outdoor equipment and all these other things, it's really growing in America. And once you start asking about you, in fact, going to see more and more, they're all around. They're all around. People are catching on this thing now. Neato, listen, neat. I can give you heating cheaper with a geothermal heat pump than you can get it with any gas appliance made anywhere.
No, wait a minute. That's 400% compared to 80, 90
5 times that. That's 4 times that, yeah. That's exactly right. But gas is cheaper than electricity in most places in the country. So that's where
some people
think... That's what in their head is saying. Yeah, but the truth is, look, in your area where you live, I happen to know the town you live in, obviously, and it happens to be that I can heat your house with a regular heat pump or a gas furnace for almost the same dollars at the end of the winter. It's almost the exact same dollars on that deal. I can do it cheaper with a geothermal than any gas furnace can do it, okay? And that's really true, and I can prove that's why we can guarantee the bills on houses. It's really that simple.
All right.
Now let's go to cooling rod, okay? SEER. Do you know what that stands for?
I almost said steer, but no, that's not it.
Seasonal energy efficient ratio, okay? Don't forget what S is. Seasonal,
right.
Okay? 10 is what's going in most houses being built in America and the South today, all right?
That good?
Yes, what the least allowable federal law is.
If you hadn't have said that, I would have thought that was good, but that's the least
It's a 10.
allowed.
You see why? Because people don't ask. It's the same old thing, you know. We know about everything in our house except the heating and cooling on our house. I want you to ask about that. Ron, for say on a 2-ton unit, you can get an SEER 12 for maybe $400 more. Okay, so I could say, well, your house payment would go up $1.50 a month.
Wouldn't even notice.
And increases your cooling efficiency 20%. That's a no-brainer. See?
The difference between your house being cool, because we all know we've had air conditioners at times that when it was really hot didn't cool enough.
Well, but that's on tonnage.
Yeah.
But this is just a more efficient, a more efficient unit here, like more miles per gallon.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Gotcha.
And for almost nothing more, you can have that, and yet hardly anybody is getting that, you see. You can get a 14, you can get even up to a 16, but there's not many companies that make this one, okay? My favorite of all, again, is geothermal. Why? Plugged into the ground, 60 degrees, whatever it is, year-round, you see. How hard is it to cool a house if it was 60 degrees every day?
I would think it'd be perfect.
Pretty easy, right? Yeah, I mean, that's colder than what you want in your house anyway, so what a great deal. It says in the Bible somewhere, locate compressor on the west end of the house out by the brick wall, right? You know what it is, it's your house, okay. But look, let's forget that for now. I'm saying to you, Ron, look here. Let's go to geothermal, plugged into the ground. Guess what the SEER is of geothermal?
I don't know.
No. It doesn't have an SEER.
Okay.
What does it stand for?
Seasonal.
Seasonal. Well, geothermal doesn't know a season. It doesn't know if it's winter or summer. Remember that little story? Okay, it doesn't know it. But the EER is about 16. Converted to SEER is about 20.
Double.
20, or half cost, however you want to look at it. I can cool your house for half the cost of what most people are paying on their house because of the efficiency of the system. That's not even the best part, Ron. It gets better. It gets better.
Well, talk to me.
If I've solved your heating and cooling problems in your house, what's the next big user of energy in the average house? Do you know what that is?
I give up.
Hot water heating. The cost of heating hot water. Well, look, since geothermal has no outdoor equipment, what am I going to do with all that heat I've been blowing to the birds all summer?
There's got to be some
I'm going to put it in your water tank for free hot water, you see? Take the heat out of the house, put it in the water tank. Ron, in your area, I'm going to give you 80% of your family's hot water absolutely free with geothermal and with no outdoor equipment and all these things. And you see what we've done? It's just absolutely marvelous. I've given you heating less than gas. Got it? Made your house comfortable, too. Cooling at half cost, what you're used to paying, and 80% of your hot water free. Now, I ask you, why wouldn't you do that?
I don't know. Must have rocks in my head if I want to do
Why
that.
doesn't everybody do that? That's what some people are asking me now. They say, well, Doug, if this be true, why doesn't everybody do it? Folks, I'm telling you, everything is in the package now for you to do what we're teaching today. Ron, here's why it's not always done. The house is going to cost you $5,000 or $6,000 more to build it like I teach.
What? So the upfront.
Upfront cost. Now, I'm working on that, okay, that you can't believe some things getting ready to happen about that. But here's how a real estate man in Georgia taught me how to sell it. He said, my houses are $150,000. Okay? House payment's $1,295 if you borrow all the money. Utilities $200 a month. $1,495 a month is what this house cost you. All right? He says, but I'd like to tell you about a house that's more soundproof, fireproof, roach-proof, lower utilities, and more comfortable, and I want you to know about it, Ron, but it's going to cost you $5,000 more. Or let's just make it $7,000 more. Let's just be real high, okay?
Yeah.
$157,000. Well, all of a sudden you say, oh, I don't know if I can afford that. Well, the truth is you can't afford not to, but watch. If you borrow the money on what's called an energy-efficient mortgage, and if you look at the screen right now, here's a company that has agreed to work with us all across America on energy-efficient mortgages. They have realized that if your utility bills are less, you can buy more house.
Gives you more money to deal with every
isn't
month.
that neat? You know, my old saying, energy items don't cost anything, they make you money. Well, this mortgage company has figured this out and do. So there you are. Write that phone number down, write that company down, so that you can call them about an energy-efficient mortgage. They're doing this all across America, even as we speak. Now, look, Ron, $7,000 more cost you $50 more a month on your house payment.
So carry your one there.
$1,345. Okay. Is that about right?
Sounds
on your house payment?
Yep.
But I've lowered your utilities maybe to $100 a month. Yeah, you've already figured it out.
You're paying
so for $1,445 a month, you can have the super-duper house, or for $1,495 a month, you can have the average house. Which one do you want?
I'm going with this one.
Why?
Because I've got a better system.
Yeah, it's comfortable. Everything. Your house is worth more. It's just absolutely amazing what it does. People always want to know what the cost is. I say, who cares if it makes you more money than it costs you? See, that's how that works with a mortgage that you get. That's how. Then they want to know what's the payback. One of my favorite things in the seminar of all is this. What's the payback, they say? I say, a lot faster than carpet.
Exactly.
Carpet. How much money does carpet make you?
None.
None. How about that fireplace? How about those recessed lights? None, right? Yeah. All those things. See, nothing in the house will make you money except what we've taught you in the last hour. I think it's fantastic, and I'm glad we got a chance to help you.